Alright, so here we go. 3:48 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, August 7th, 2022. Chad Xavier Films here. Trade, Chad Films, Chad Xavier here. So we're recording live from Duluth, GA. So we wanted to talk to you all about this movie idea that we were just talking about in the last video clip before the laptop died. I just charged it for like an hour back there. I charged the phone at the same time, and I don't know what I was doing in between then, just listening to the song and just thinking. And smoking a little bit. I think I started recording again over there. I think I did go over there and record again on here. And I ended off one of those talking about this new idea I was having. It was like I was talking about Chadwick Boseman and being able to play the Black Panther. And I want to record this on my phone as well. So we are recording audio on my phone right now. I'm going to go to Google and do some researching on some stuff. I just went to Brainy Quotes. I went to Google and I typed in transhumanism Brainy Quotes for Brainy Quotes about transhumanism from the Brainy Quotes site. That's where I would go to frame a story when I'm about to work on a story. Most times I would go to the Brainy Quotes for any keywords related to that concept for the story. And I will try to do that before I start the story so I can have a list of like 20 quotes, and I would like write poems based on the quotes or scenes, or just make sure those ideals and concepts inside of those quotes was shown and displayed in the film itself. So that's naturally the first thing I would do. So I went to Google, typed in transhumanism Brainy Quotes, and it pulls up a quote from, I have a dip right here. It pulls up a quote from Dan Brown first, right? It says, transhumanism is the ethics and science of using things like biological and genetic engineering to transform our bodies and make us a more powerful species. Dan Brown, right? Then like that's the only one that's really about like that. Then the rest are more like science and technology. So excuse me. All right. So next is Albert Einstein. Only two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity. And I'm not sure about the former. By former he means the first one. And next is Robert A. Heinlein. I think that's the guy that wrote Starship Troopers and Star Beast, stuff like that. I think that's got it. That's the Starship Troopers novelist. Starship Troopers, 1997 sci-fi flick. I grew up on that. I bought the toy for the arachnid or whatnot. I had that toy. It was either that or the roach from Men in Black, but black people don't play with roaches. So it's alright. I'm buying a roach. Bad omen. You know what I'm saying? But where are these roaches going? Looking for his cousin. You know what I'm saying? So I got the Starship Troopers one. I remember that was a birthday present. I had to pick one. I picked the Starship Troopers. Just thinking back to that as a kid, I could have got anything in the world I wanted from my parents, and I asked for video games. I wish they taught me to ask for stocks. Looking back on it. Where's the 7-year-old kid who just wants stocks? You ask the kid, you want anything? I'm about to go to the store. No, just some stocks. There's no stocks at the store. I'll get a Robin Hood when I come back, alright? Oh, here, man, here's my phone. Go to Robin Hood, man. What you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just feel bad. Like, 7-year-old? And I gotta write that as a movie because that's the world you want to live in. And I gotta write that as a movie for kids, right there. Boom, the 7-year-old that just wanted to buy stocks. And we just make that a story and show kids in the story like what that really, really means, bro. You're gonna have more money than your parents. You're gonna call all the shots, and if you act wrong, they're gonna try to kill you because you're gonna be rich and they want all your money. You're gonna have totally different problems. Now you have so much money they'll kill you for it. Well, welcome to Hollywood. You know? You're worth so much, they'll slice your throat for it. Half of it. 10%. A couple dollars of it. That's how much you got. For 1%, they'll slice your neck for everything you have. For 1% of what you have. For just the stuff you have in your pocket at the time they catch you. Hmm. Hmm. Crazy. So, Robert A. Heinlein, right? Everything is theoretically impossible. So it's done. That's what I tried to tell him for 15 years. Real talk. Robert A. Heinlein says, they'd be like, what the Robert A. Heinlein? He's like, Starship Troopers? What the, I can't wait. Because you don't have a Starship Troopers? They probably told him that same thing, like while he was making Starship Troopers, until he made Starship Troopers. You know what I'm saying? So next one, Carl Sagan, the universal guy. We live in a society exquisitely dependent on science and technology, in which hardly anyone knows anything about science and technology. Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. Martin Luther King Jr. just found a new way to memorize a line. Not even memorize it, just read it first and then say it. The saddest aspect of life right now is that science gathers knowledge faster than that's how President Kennedy did it. Knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. Okay. Isaac Asimov. Next one, Louis Pasteur. Science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity and is the torch which illuminates the world. Science is the highest personification of the nation because that nation will remain the first, which carries the furthest works of thought and intelligence. Edward Teller, the science of today is the technology of tomorrow. Immanuel Kant, science is organized knowledge, wisdom is organized life. Will Harvey, what is research but a blind date with knowledge? I love that one. That made me smile so hard. Marcus Aurelius, I know him. Stoicism. Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius. Nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under thy observation in life. Science and technology revolutionize our lives, but memory, tradition, and myth frame our response. I like that one a lot. Arthur M. Schlesinger. That's the perfect. Schlesinger just reminds me of a Kennedy cabinet member or something, somebody in his family or his circle. Schlesinger. Arthur Schlesinger. Seemed like. Anyway, but yeah, that one makes me think about crypto. I was warning everybody about crypto. Science and technology was revolutionizing our lives. I was warning them about the evolution coming, but their memory, tradition, and myths framed their response. Science is a way of life. Science is a perspective. Science is the process that takes us from confusion to understanding in a manner that is precise, predictive, and reliable. A transformation for those lucky enough to experience it that is empowering and emotional. Brian Greene. Jeff Bezos, Amazon. I used to work for you, nigga. The human brain is an incredible pattern matching machine. Carl Jung, again. We are born at a given moment in a given place, like vintage years of wine. We have the qualities of the year and of the season of which we are born. Astrology does not claim, astrology does not lay claim to anything more. Carl Jung. Last one. So boom. That's how we started off. We'll make sure we put these inside the manuscript and read them on tape again. Even though we read them now, we can put them there. We just make sure we type it in the manuscript somewhere. And so we're gonna start this off. This is like a brainstorm. This is how we do it when we're starting off a brand new story. Okay, a brand new story. I don't have one word written on this story, right? Barely have a title. I'm thinking like I was thinking Transhumania. Like Transhumania could be a place there, and then it could be the entire universe. It's just Transhumania, the Transhumania universe. Transhumania. Because I wanted to make a film about transhumanism. Then I wanted to be one of the first to make a film about transhumanism and admitting that it's really transhumanism and not just some fictional world we're creating with our brain. Like, no, this is really actually happening and not hiding that fact. In the movie, it's really actually happening in, the real time, not just that universe, this universe where this happens. No, like literally, so I want to, call it like the Transhumania saga. So we can, it's the Transhumania cinematic universe, right? And from there, basically, the time span of the universe is going to be from right now, 2022, between 2022 and 2024 for the prequel stories. Then from 2024, 2025, all the way to 2066, that's when like the full story takes place. From 2022 all the way to 2026, and then from 2026, I'll keep expanding the story from there. But technically, 2066, with me being born in 1989, would make that the end of my lifespan. If I live 20 years later, from that point, I'll be 100 years old. So that's the end of my lifetime. So us as millennials, we were born about 30 years before the transhumanism started, which was a 42-year era. So 40 years from when we were about 30, between 20 and 30, or at least 30, adding another 40 years, that adds us to the end of our lives. We're in our 70s when this is over, when this 42-year period is over. We are going to be towards the end of our lives. So the millennials were the first generation to see the entire thing. Like we are born to see the entire thing. And all generations born under us, up until a certain point, are going to be alive the entire time and outlive transhumanism and see what becomes post-humanism. So now I have to do my best to make this cinematic superhero universe of transhumanism and that whole first 40-year period, then the next 40-year period of just post-humanism at that point and exploring what all that is. And that in itself would be like a lifetime's worth of work. That would be because I'm literally writing about something that's happening right now. It just started and it's going to last for 40 years. So I'll have 40 years to write it as it's happening if I'm still alive. But until then, I have to make as much of it as I can now so I can at least have been the person to call it out and try to branch off the stories as much as I can. But if not, then other writers from the future can come and do the same thing as they did with Marvel comic books and just add stories to what I already laid before. And then future directors will be directing superhero films made by Chad, basically, but they're about transhumanism. So it's like, oh, that's not a superhero, but there's already a superhero like that. Why do you think that is, nigga? Because they knew about transhumanism, bitch. That's what this is about. This is the world that we really live in that is genetic engineering people and all kinds of things. So we're going to make a story about that entire universe of transhumanism. I'm going to literally research all the industries that are related to transhumanism. Then I'm going to come up with superpowers based on those technologies because it's not a superpower, it's super technology. That's what the difference was. There's only a few superheroes that like didn't have access to a lot of technology. Like, I mean, it was only a few that did have access to a lot of technology. Tony Stark's Iron Man, Bruce Wayne, Batman, even the Green Hornet. Like as far as having a rich upbringing, Clark Kent, he was broke. You know what I'm saying? But he was Superman, so it was straight, but he was broke. You know what I'm saying? He had a job. So it's like that. Like, but you always have like the superheroes, gamma radiation, or Sandman, particles, kind of thing. Always some kind of science involved in it. The Lizard, Spider-Man, always got to be some kind of. If they didn't have money, they got messed up by something that cost a lot of money. It was $1 million spider. They got bit by $1 million radioactive spider, like real talk kind of thing. So they got bit by expensive. They got hit by this superhero truck, just whacked them. Basically, they just get whacked. Broke person down on their luck gets whacked by a superpower and it happens. Now, in this universe, is really transhumanism. We're going to show the science behind it. This is all scientifically possible. It's all true. So we're going to have all of the transhumanism stuff. So when I watch documentaries on transhumanism and lectures on transhumanism, they blow my mind. Now to sit back and write stories based on those technologies, like, bro, in the story, it's going to be like, I could see it starting off like Batman, like a Batman kind of guy, like the dark vigilante figure. It's like, I had no choice. He's like straight anti-hero. It's like, I had no choice but to be a hero because science just unleashed a whole bunch of genetic engineering. So now you got all these super criminals running around. So you had no choice and stuff. You know what I'm saying? This technology is going to be available to the criminals and to the saint. So the saint is going to use the technology for saintly purposes. The criminals are going to do the exact opposite. So that's going to bring a lot of anti-heroes. So now I got to look up the character archetypes. Now I got to start bringing in the different character archetypes. This is the perfect story to have character archetypes. And that's stupid because you should have your character archetypes in every single story. What are you talking about? But most of my stories are focused on one character at a time, kind of setting it up, giving him his own standalone film, spin-off film at the very beginning, and that way he has heart. So the actor can really play this character because there's a lot of substance for the actor to go off of instead of starting off the story with a bunch of characters, kind of have a few and just give them all their time to shine and then give them standalone spin-off movies, things like that, prequels, and backstories, flashbacks, things like that. And then from there, come up with, like everything is a more cinematic universe kind of feel like this is just the first film of very many. So we're going to ease it all in, that's what he said, right? So, you know what I'm saying? He said it, she, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I thought she was good. Not really. He made me say it. I can't put him on camera though. All right, look, I'm just playing. All right, so anyway, so it's like that's the story, bro. It's like transhumanism, right? So then it was like this is my chance to create a bunch of like black superheroes, right? Then it's like, damn, but if you're gonna do it like that, then what makes you better than the white man? So it's like you gotta have white superheroes, you gotta have white villains, you gotta have, you know, you have to take the example of what the Black Panther did by actually having so many it did have a few other races in the story, but just the fact of the story of the Black Panther, the actual film of it, you know, they introduced more diversity into Marvel, and that's why they finally flocked to it. So next thing you know, Marvel will have some Latina characters, superheroes, and things like that. They probably already do. So they'll have more, and then you have your Asians, and it'll be the same thing like the presidency. You have Obama, first black president, then Kamala Harris, first black female vice president, first female vice president, period, and black lady, and then she might run for president and win it and be the first female president and the first black female president. And then it goes from there. Then you have to move on to the next black male president, then the first Latino president, and then first Latina president, and first Latina vice president, and first Latino vice president, and then the first Asian vice president and first Asian president. Maybe the first Asian president wins it with a vice president. So the top two, there'll be Asian American basically. You know what I'm saying? Asian American, Latino American. There'll be Americans of other races and stuff. And born Americans. And boom. And they get their shine next. Latinos and then, the Asians and stuff. And never let the Indians in the White House just, sorry. Just be out after efforts. Be out top wild. No. I'm sorry. Other than that, you know what I'm saying? You know, Chinese be like, Chinese food here. No soul food. Chinese food. No soul food here. I ain't no punk bitch. I ain't no punk bitch either. How you gonna give me a big box of grease? You feel me? So this transhumanism idea is really pumping me up because I'm like, bro, this is like gonna be my cinematic achievement on some action. They like CGI, this and that. The new generation, they want to blah 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 blah. They want that. Boom! I got you, superhero movie Chad style. Like real talk. Like Chad Films came up with his own superhero cinematic universe. Like you thought Marvel had it all sewn up, and you'd be like, oh, you can't make a superhero like that because there's already a superhero like that. But like not really because like he's not a superhero. He's actually a person inside the transhumanism 42-year era right before posthumanism, where all this technology was actually available to us, and he's actually in the time period where the superhero comic books and stories were originating from. The assumption that one day that kind of stuff will be possible, but right now it's not. So this person who got this ability is a freak of nature. But this story, transhumanism, is that you can go to the store and buy genetic engineering, and you will already see movies like, oh, there's already a movie like. Listen, nigga, that's what I'm trying to tell you. They saw this stuff coming and did not admit it to you that it was not a movie. They wanted you to think it was fiction and totally just impossible, and you were just watching something really cool. There's a basis for every fictional story inside of reality. No one inside of reality can write something that was not inspired by reality. You were inside of reality when you thought about the thought. It came from you within reality. In the real world, you thought of a fantasy world. It was inspired by something in the real world. That is the fact of fiction. It's a fact. There's a quote. I was reading quotes. There was a quote, 2015, when I was working on like JFK and Cleverland and that kind of thing. Cleverland would have been 2016, but there was a quote. I was before Cleverland. I was working on like another story about like I was working on my memoirs. At 25, I was working on my memoirs. At 25, somebody was calling me. At 25, I was working on my memoirs, and it was like I understood back then, like, yo, who's crazy enough to work on their memoirs at 25 years old? That is so crazy. Who works on their memoirs at 25 years old? So I started working on my memoirs, 25 years old, and that was around the same time I started audio recording. So I was audio recording my memoirs, like in live action, the live memory, right after it happened. Just come right there and talk about it immediately after. 100% memory recall, total recall of the events. It was totally fresh, right there in the moment. You could hear all the emotion right there, right there. You could tell right there if I was lying or not. You could hear the emotion. Where's the emotion coming from? If he's lying, nah, it's real emotion. This thing is really bugging out over this shit. This shit really going down. These things wild. These things out here tripping. He just like going outside recording about it. These things bugging out. You know what I'm saying? So uh, the transhumanism story, like, it's my chance to do what the Black Panther did, is to give the other races, shout outs, and it's going to enlighten a lot of the viewers because they realize that this story is taking place within the universe they are in right now. This is a movie about the universe you're in. Check that out. That's how it goes. So this is our fictional representation of this story because it spans over 42 years. That starts right now. So there's no way for me to accurately predict everything that's going to happen within a year by year theme, but at least I can say by the end of it, 2066, I'll have wrote a lot. Like, not if I make it to that far. If I do, I will. But I'm saying right now, I have to write in the story enough for the story to go from 2024 all the way to the end of 2066, and then create a new story, post-humanism cinematic universe, where the cinematic universe from transhumanism is now inside of the post-humanism universe because transhumanism transitioned into post-humanism. Right now, I have to write a story about the transition into transhumanism. So I kind of want to start the story in post-humanism. So I'm gonna have to study a lot of post-humanism, and this is gonna be really fun because this is a very intricate thing to study, and it's totally 50% related to investing and in all the technologies, and that'll be the perfect segue for it because all of these industries are really real and they're really real. You can really buy real stocks and make real money from these industries and investing in transhumanism. So that's gonna be like my legacy. That's gonna be one major part of my legacy because the financing was always like a big part of my legacy once it popped up. But how I narrow it down now is the easiest way to say it is if you want to like make money off the stock market, invest in transhumanism. Basically, just study transhumanism, figure out the industries that are related to transhumanism, and invest in all of the industries and sectors and related industries and sectors to transhumanism. And a lot of my list was already transhumanism based without me really searching for transhumanism industries. The first time I ever heard the word transhumanism, I was 21. We're talking 10, 11 years ago. So, like I said, I'm very ahead of the curve. I knew transhumanism was coming 12 years ago. But with it being 12 years, it's more like a we'll wait and see kind of thing. Like, I know it's coming. I'll tell a few people along the way, but this is going to be cool to see, but we got a minute to wait. Fast forward, damn, it is happening. Wow, let's get it. You been knew about it. Let's hop right on it. You could have been, you didn't know anything about investing, so you didn't know enough to know I should invest my money in transhumanism. It's happening within 10 years. That's going to give me enough time to throw the money in now into certain stocks and related in it. It's going to be very inexpensive because it's an emerging industry, emerging sector. That's going to take 10 years to develop. Boom, I got 10 years working at McDonald's this whole time. Throw all my money into transhumanism and crypto, Bitcoin. Boom, if I was as smart as I wanted to be back then. But I wasn't, so I'm not. So I'm not, but I'm not, so I wasn't. So now it's like, okay, let's work in this story, transhumanism. This is going to be awesome because you already wanted to do a story on transhumanism once you started researching it, started telling people about it, and warning them now that it's actually here. It's actually here right now. COVID was definitely a huge, catalyst for transhumanism. Basically, I would think there's some hidden motive behind that. It has something to do with transhumanism, and they used to call. There used to be a YouTube video about something called the Fifth Event. It was like a little short documentary, and it was just saying there's something that's going to happen this was in 2015, and it was like, there's a big event coming, it's called the fifth event, and a lot of people won't make it past that event. Boom. Tab was COVID, bro. COVID and crypto. It was crypto and COVID. It was just saying power structure's gonna fall, the meek will inherit the earth kind of thing. Boom. COVID and crypto. COVID and crypto. A lot of people, they weren't meant to be alive after COVID and crypto. COVID and crypto. It's like COVID was trying to like get rid of people, but before crypto could change their lives, kind of thing. Crypto's gonna change everything. COVID tried to weed people out before crypto could change their lives. So crypto's changing things. There's a lot of money now. So think about it. A lot of these people that are crypto millionaires making money from cryptocurrency, they're going to be the transhumanists. They're going to be the ones who can afford genetic engineering. They're going to be the watch. It's going to be a product. Genetic engineering. It costs like $50,000. Only the crypto whales are going to be able to afford that kind of stuff. So now you're going to have the rich and powerful being physically, mentally rich and powerful, like using their money to literally enhance their bodies, which is what the rich have always been trying to do. The movie Get Out was about organ harvesting for the rich, right? The rich have always been trying to enhance the quality of their life and enhance the lifespan of their life. That's what transhumanism is. So it is the deepest thing we can talk about because it brings out who you are. It's like, are you for transhumanism or are you for posthumanism? Are you a transhumanist or are you a posthumanist? What are you? Then before you can answer that, you have to figure out what they are, period. Are you Republican or Democrat? What are you? And then people are going to be voting. There's going to be transhumanism voting and posthumanism voting, meaning like you're voting about these issues. These are going to possibly be political parties. Boom. That's the story right there. Put that in there. You know what I'm saying? You got the president of the transhumanists. Then you got the president of the posthumanists. But the posthumanists didn't pop off until the transhumanists finished. So now you got almost this 40-year ride of transhumanism by the transhumanist president. Like, it can go so far. So right now you're hearing on audio and seeing me on video recorded on audio and stuff, and you're listening to me record the audio for the video or whatnot. So you are seeing exactly how my mind pops up with ideas, and you're seeing the creative process. And I missed that I did not record myself on video when I was recording my audio, because most times I might be outside the house, which the same thing for the camera. I still could have brought the camera, but I really thinking back on it now, at what I'm doing now, I really appreciate the fact that I'm actually giving you video footage of how I create audio material, because I'm so comfortable with the audio. I don't have to worry about how I look, anything, book in my nose, nothing. If I have a shirt on, if I woke up, took a shower, nothing. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. I could just wake up middle of the night and just start recording. Then get up, shower, eat, do whatever, and get ready for filming. But camera, acting, model, you have to be camera ready. So I have to really have that lifestyle where like I'm really like camera ready all the time. Brand new clothes, just got out of the shower, just woke up. Right now my life is like real crazy. So I'm just like, I'm saying, up all night here. Now take a shower when I get home, and and then I'm back outside, and then filming, and I just, what I'm saying, just try to look as good as I can. I need a haircut, this and that, and what I'm saying. So I'm really glad there's now video footage of, me creating these ideas. You can see the genius now. So when I say like I'm a genius and stuff, you can see what I mean. But I'm showing you on this whole documentary, like the opposite side of my genius, the manic side, the manic depressing side of genius. On the other side of genius is manic depression. And so it's just like you're walking that thin line of like, what I'm thinking right now is borderline manic depressive, and it's borderline genius. Like, I'm a few steps away from either one. So it's like I try all day to keep, swaying towards the genius side, and just keep swaying towards the genius side. Hey, listen, this manic depressing side is the opposite of the quarter, my friend. Flip over the quarter and just keep flipping over the quarter. And if your emotions flip over the quarter again, then you use your mind to flip over the quarter again. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? That's a beautiful analogy. That's a beautiful exercise. That's a beautiful exercise. That is a gift that will help you for the rest of your life. I can tell as soon as I said that. Like, I've never thought about that before. That's a brand new thought. It's just supportive, bro. It's just supportive. Just one side is transhumanism, and one side is posthumanism. One of them stands for what you want, the other stands for what you don't. Talking Harvey Dent, Two-Face type shit, bro. Just straight, hey, flip the coin, say it's your day, it's tails you fail. You feel me? Like, so it's like that, man. Just flip the coin, and if your emotions flip the coin again, you know what I'm saying? And you flip the coin again. Just keep flipping the coin, bro. And like, that's what I want to show you right now. It's like, this is how I manage my manic depression. And it hurts to even have to admit that I might go through something like that. Where I'll at least, that's how I'll describe it, just by how the words sound. Manic depression. very bad, depressed, you know, cloud of thoughts, just immersed in that cloud. It's not necessarily my vibe. Now you see me, my vibe, because I see you, I'm gonna respond to you, so you're still gonna get the best I can offer at that moment. I just might personally be feeling really bad about my own life, but when you pop up, you're like, hey, man, and if it's just too bad, then it's just too bad at the moment. I have to let you know I'm just really going through it. Can't entertain company right now. I can't make you feel good right now. I'm in need of help right now myself. So other than that, when you see me, you might catch me at a good moment. It might have just been recording, filming, so I'm in a good spirit. And, so I want to work in this story for transhumanism. So because I know the area's here and I've been here for 10 years and I haven't been writing about it, at least writing about it, could at least been writing about transhumanism. So now I get to spend the rest of my writing career writing about transhumanism because this story is so large in itself. And I already have my own cinematic universe, David Crichton cinematic universe, and everything in between that came after the David Crichton years, but I just grouped it all up as them, as David Crichton. So I already have my first cinematic universe I'm working on, and I'm writing stories adding to it, and I'm writing stories that are encompassing multiple of those stories from that universe. Now I get to have a freaking superhero universe, a transhumanism universe inside of the David Crichton universe. So I got to give this universe a different name for the creator. First one was like the David Crichton experience. This one, you know, I'm thinking just give the name to thinking between like Nasia and Honey. Technically I've already given Honey a pen name. She has a pen name. Vanessa Malone is her name. Pen name is Vanessa Stallone. She want to be an actress, so that would be perfect for this one. The Vanessa Stallone experience, right? From the David Crichton experience to the Vanessa Stallone experience, and that would be the cinematic universe for the superheroes. And that's cool because even when directing those, um, I can still have my name on it and acting in those or whatever, but writing those. But no, not writing. I'll give the writing credits to her pen name, Vanessa Stallone, just so the name Vanessa Stallone can be on a cinematic universe full of transhumanism, transhumanism cinematic universe. Cinematic universe about transhumanism. So it's like it's not even superheroes, it's just genetically altered humans, bro, running amok. Like that's gonna be crazy because that ties back into the circus within the jungle. Now that's some futuristic circus within the jungle transhumanism edition. Now you got so in the circus in the jungle, within the jungle, I have to bring that up in the story at some point. Like, yo, right now you got the circus, it's the circus in the jungle you're in now, but yo, check this out, things are changing. Check this out, yo, just so you know, kids, the criminals are gonna have genetic engineering and this and that, and they're gonna have this list of technology they're gonna have access to, and they're gonna be doing this and that, and crime's gonna be totally different, and it's gonna be like this and that. So I really do. It really should just be one whole universe. Like at least just I don't know, but it's crazy. But you get to see the beginning, the birth of all these ideas. So when I finally think it all through, and write them down, then